the compensation plans take too long to break even. There's no real retail plan set up. Most people don't like to retail anyways, but if you look at that, in any company, it doesn't necessarily matter what it is, but through the compensation structure, only like 1 to maybe 5% of the distributors at any given time will make profit. So the only way that 100% can make profit in a traditional MLM is selling, right?
Yeah.
So if I join and I buy the product and I go sell it for equal to or more than I purchased it for, then I can do it. But it's very difficult to retail in most MLM models because the products are already so stinking expensive.
Yeah.
And they're not unique enough that you can't, that if they do create if they create something popular, then Costco and everybody comes out with it. You know what I mean? And they sell it for half the price. So, but if you do look at some of the older companies and where they're doing so well, a lot of it is in the Latino markets, the Asian markets and stuff like that, because they are just going out and selling the product. And so they have so many people selling the product that they're making money, right? So when I saw that, I'm like, you know, the whole concept needs to change to create a better duplication and retention model. So we thought, you know, if a company has a flagship product, something that is what they're all about and what they're marketing, people should be able to join for that product and no more, not have to buy a case or not have to buy any more than one. No sign-up fees. The company should provide all the training and the systems. You should have a retail program that sells the product at no more than the distributors are getting it and pays at least a 50% commission. Because whether it was the gas station that you guys had or a restaurant or something like that, if I buy something at $2, I'm usually going to sell it for $4 or $5 in a traditional retail market.
Yeah.
So if we had a bottle of whatever for $40 for a month's supply, we wanted our distributors to be able to go sell that for $40 and make $20. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Now they make a couple sales a month, they're in profit. So now all of a sudden we can get more of our distributors in profit. And if they're not in profit, if the whole business is $40 a month, it's not quite as big of a deal if it's $100 or $200 or $250.
Correct.
So that's really the concepts that we put together. Since 2002, I've helped launch a little bit over, I think around 10 companies. All of them are still in business, so it's not like we launched and they went out of business and we launched and they went out of business. But as I said, most of these were set up that I was doing it for a new division of an existing company. So it wasn't my company. I just, you know, talked them into it, helped facilitate the business and helped it go. 3 of those companies have done over 100 million a year in sales, which puts them in about the top 150 companies in the world. We have a 4th one that I launched in 2016 that I think will hit over 100 million next year. So 4 out of 10 and 100% staying in business. The theory is pretty much proven that it's a better model. All the divisions that we've launched, the parent company basically just folded up and rolled over into the new company because it was growing so much better. But about, it was probably about 4 years ago now, I was first introduced to cryptocurrency. Didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but from 18, my very first semester of college, a course that I took was Intro to Investments. And it kind of opened up my mind to not just make money, right, but get some of that money working for you. Because money can work 24/7. It doesn't call in sick. It doesn't complain. And if you just have your money sitting in your dresser drawer under your mattress or in a savings account, it's really just doing nothing. And if you have this money, why not put it to work? So
and the value's going down too.
Right, exactly. So I at 18 purchased some mutual funds that I still have, you know, to this day. And that first day of college, they handed everybody out a pamphlet that said How to Retire a Millionaire. I'm 18 years old, and I'm like, man, they just showed every single person how to retire a millionaire. And obviously, the longer time you have, the less money you need to put in. But at that time, it was $75 per month is what it would take at a 10% annual return. But you don't know if you're going to get that.
Right.
But, you know, that's what the goal is, at a 10% annual return. So anyways, I had been looking for different ways to grow my money, right? And I still have those same, I bought 3 Putnam mutual funds. My last name's Putnam, $25 in each one. I still have those same. I haven't put any more in. I just wanted to see how that's going. Right now there's 200, I think about 220 some thousand. The 10% a year has what they call the power of 7. So every 7 years it doubles. So if we look, I'm 44, so exactly 21 years before I'm 65, so it should have 3 more doubles. So 200 to 400, 400 to 800, 800 to 1.6 million. So it's performing about what I said. Now there could have been different things that I could have put my money in that would have way outperformed those mutual funds.
Right.
But I've always just kind of had that concept of trying to figure out. I mean, I don't know how long I've been working with Forex and different things and quantities and anything that I can think of to put money to work. Even now, when I'm making money on, buying restaurants, buying houses, I'm not just letting it sit in my checking account. And even though it's nice to look at a checking account and see millions of dollars in it, I'd rather have the property or the restaurants or these types of
Something
things
physical, something
right,
that you can see.
Exactly. And so in about 2014, I actually can't remember if it was 2013 or 2014. I think it's 2014. A couple guys that I had known, I didn't know them really well, so I'd say more acquaintances, not best friends or anything. But Russ Medlin and Joe Abel contacted me, and they had just kicked off what they call the BitClub network, and it was Bitcoin mining. And I didn't know much about it, but I'm like, yeah, I'll put some money in it and see what happens. So I bought some shares. Referred a couple friends. Mike controlled us, and then Mike talked to one of the guys we got through, and then he ended up building a big business. But I didn't really build a big business there. I was just still focused on our nutrition and doing that stuff. But Mike started calling me because he knew that we'd helped with so many startups and stuff like that.
Right.
In about 2016, early, saying, hey, you should do a Bitcoin company. And the reason why is BitClub Network is $100 to start. Lowest, which gets you nothing. That's just like a fee that you pay. The lowest mining contract was $500, but you really needed to spend $3,500 if you were going to be in the game. And in Russia and all these other countries, it's a lot of money. You know what I mean? The average person makes $400 US or less.
Right.
And now that's come up with $3,600. So he was, but they were still doing well because obviously in any big country with massive population, there's people with money, especially in some of those. One, it's kind of like they have just as many or more millionaires than we do in the United States per population, but then they have so many people that are making like $300 or $400, So it's just a big difference between the wealthy and the poorest. But it's a big difference in the U.S. too. You have millions of people that are homeless.
Right.
So, but anyways, I just was like, I don't know enough about it. Late 2016, a bunch of crypto companies pop up and they're all killing it, and they all look like Ponzi schemes to me. I'm just like, I don't see how they're paying out the money they're paying out. It doesn't make sense. And so March of 2017, we talked to some people, brought in some of our own mining machines, and we launched a mining company in June of 2017. So it's been going a little over a year now. It's gone fairly well, but the mining, I was thinking it's all about mining. One of the guys that we met early on is named John Paul Ramirez out of Colombia. He has an awesome mining facility, and then they also have their own trading platform, their own ICO, their own wallet, their own exchanges, ATMs. And he told me, he said, if you think the money's in the mining, you're missing the entire picture of cryptocurrency. The money is in the servicing, selling the coins, making the fees. That's where all the money is in. And it, just like the banking industry, the banks have all the money. You know what I mean? And because they charge fees for every single thing that they do, no matter what happens, the bank's making money. Market's up, market's down, the bank's still making money. And so we started to look more at what he was doing, and went out and met with him again in March. We became a customer of his in June of 2017. So the platform that we're marketing right now, we've used personally for over a year. We started marketing it through our mining company in August, but then we decided we wanted to kind of rebrand, just because of their wallet is iWallet, their coin is iCash, their company is iLine Holdings, all of that type of thing. And we thought, it'd be better if we partnered with them so that we can get part of this wallet. We can do, all of this stuff, because we were in the process of making our own wallet, maybe doing our own ICOs, doing all this stuff. They already had it done. So we started to think, why we're doing the same thing, we kind of have the same vision, why don't we just partner on it? And so that's what we decided to do just this year in June, and that's where we bring iLine Trading, but we're soon changing to iLine Crypto Club, just because it's so much more than trading. Trading's like one of like 6 things that we do. So I'll explain that here in just a second. Let me
Okay.
Yeah,
check
go ahead,
this,
go
this out.
Yeah. Let us.
Basically, with Eyeline, we kind of explained what's going on and what kind of brought us up to that point. But really, what the whole concept of Eyeline is there's so many people, and it's just kind of like me at 18 years old, sitting in Intro to Investments. I had to hear about it and then find out exactly how to do it. So people are hearing about Bitcoin all the time. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So where do I buy it? Should I buy it? Can I? General public doesn't think that you can do
Have
anything with
access to it,
Bitcoin,
yeah.
right? They just think that, why did I buy Bitcoin? What can I do with it?
Right.
Oh, Bitcoin is more liquid than gold or silver or a mutual fund or a stock or any other type of investment. It's as liquid as fiat currency these days. It's global currency. But they don't know that. So what we wanted to do is create the opportunity that people can go out, strike up a conversation about Bitcoin, then they have questions on it, which they all do, and say, hey, we work with a company that basically what they do is they manage your entire cryptocurrency portfolio, and you can do it for as little as $40 per year. And it's not like you're spending $40, you're putting $40 to work for you. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to start earning in the crypto space every single day for the next year. And then a lot of people will be like, send me info, you know what I mean? So it just starts the whole thing. Like I finished my last 3 years of college playing on the golf team, and I still play quite a bit. And for years, because I've been in the networking space, and people say, one of the first conversations, if you're golfing with somebody, or even if you're doing anything with somebody, what do you do? Yeah. And then so I wouldn't really want to get into the network marketing aspect and all of that. So I just say I market nutrition products online. And then some of them would say, well, how do you do, what type of products and stuff like that. But most of them just don't say a whole lot after that. Now, if I say, I work with a company where we control people's cryptocurrencies account, manage them, and show them how to make Bitcoin every single day, then the conversation, the interest is much higher. Because now all of a sudden they're like, oh, I've heard about Bitcoin. How does that work? How did people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes so much further. So I know without question there's way more interest, but just general public, because they're curious, they're hearing about it. They don't know what's going on with it. They don't know if it's, some think, is it legal? Is it not legal? Is it a scam? Is it, what's up? And what it is, it's a global currency. We have a global economy. It just makes sense. If we're going to conduct business all over the world, you need to have a single currency. Because it can't be run by any country, because Russia and China and those countries, they're not going to want the U.S. to run it. Right. The U.S. isn't going to want China to run it. Yeah. No, they're not going to want Russia to run it. And those are the only companies that are countries, probably those main three, U.S., China, or Russia, that would. Nobody else would be a player in it. You know what I mean? They could do like their own country crypto, like Venezuela and some of those are doing, but that's the same as fiat. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just that country only. It's not a global currency. So Bitcoin has the head start. I'm not saying it's 100% for sure over the next 5, 10, 20 years going to be the one, but it has a huge head start, and by design it's perfect to be the global currency. And what's nice, I travel a lot. I'm not sure how much you guys do, but I travel all over, and every time I travel I lose at least 15% just in conversion by overpaying at the airport, and then when you buy back, they don't do it at the same rate you bought it at. So I'll go to Mexico and I'll get $1,000 worth of pesos. They give me probably about $980 worth when I actually buy them. Then when I sell them, and I say, even if I didn't spend one, don't even spend one peso, I go sell those pesos back, and I don't get the 1,000 back. Now I get like 960 back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just lost, all this money and it's usually even worse than that. You're losing 10% or more just every time I'm switching it. But if I don't ever have to switch it, if everybody took Bitcoin, or if I just have a Visa debit card that goes to my Bitcoin, then I don't ever have to switch. And they don't have to switch. Nobody has to switch. Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. It's the same in the U.S. as it is in Mexico, as it is in Africa, as it is everywhere. Where the U.S. dollar compared to the euro, compared to the peso, compared to the Canadian dollar, compared to the pound dollar, compared to it's all different. And it doesn't make sense with everything else in the world today, because of the internet, because of all of these things, is global, except for currency. But that's not necessarily true now, because there is a global currency. So that's really what it is, because a lot of people say, well, what's the benefit of Bitcoin? I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, if anybody who does business globally will understand in a second the benefit of Bitcoin. But the other benefit is that there's nothing in the history of the world that has had the growth of Bitcoin. No stock, no real estate, no nothing. I mean, you're talking about something that in 8 years is worth about 6 times, and right now it's not even at its all-time high, but it's worth about 6 times an ounce of gold already. And it's been to a point that it's worth almost 20 times an ounce of gold. And it started at less than, a tenth of a penny when it first started.
Yeah.
Then it got to, when everybody kind of hits and it was like 7-8 cents, that was really the miracle to even get any value in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And then for it to continue to go up, it's been obviously very volatile over the last 8 years. But at the same time, it's always snapped back. So it's also been predictable. You don't know if it'll do that forever, though. You know, nobody really knows. But it's getting a lot more stable. Like if you look at, other than when everybody was just like jumping on the bandwagon late last year, October, November, December, and it shot through the roof, and then everybody, it's going to get to a point that, I mean, it's hard not to sell. You know what I mean? If you had Bitcoin at $1,000, now it's at 18,000. A lot of people are just going to say, okay, I'm taking my profits because I don't know if this is going to still go up, and even if it does, I made a lot of money. So you always have that problem that there's a resistance and there's a support. The resistance is where people are like, okay, I'm going to take my profits because I don't know if this is going to keep going up. So as it hits that line, and then if everybody starts selling, Bitcoin has really no choice but to go down. You know, just like gold would, or just like anything else would. If everybody started selling, and if everybody starts buying, it's going to go up because all of a sudden everybody's buying it. Let's try and charge more for it. And then they're still buying it. Okay, they're still buying it. Okay, they're not buying it. We better charge less for it. You know, everything is built around buying and selling. In fiat currencies with the Forex market, everything is driven by buying and selling. And it's just like if we had this, cup right here, and I was selling 1,000 of them a day for $4.95, and then all of a sudden said, I wonder if I could raise the price a little bit. So I raise it to $5.95. I'm still selling 1,000 a day. Raise it to $6.95. I'm still selling 1,000 a day. Raise it to $7.95. Now I'm selling 400 a day. And I'm like, okay, that's my resistance. You know what I mean? So I start dropping it, and then people start buying again. I'm like, okay, that's my support. That's just kind of like the simplistic stake. But the support right now, the heavy support in Bitcoin is around 4,300. So it's quite a bit lower than where it is right now. There's always a ton of support just under 6,000. But the basic, like when you talk to the people that do this and just study it for a day, like the bottom is probably 4,300. They doubt that it'll even go there, but they doubt it'll ever go less than that because all the institutional money and all the big buyers have buys around that point, that they're just saying, I'll basically buy unlimited if it ever gets there. But a lot of people have buys at the high 5,000s and that type of a thing. So that's why you'll see it dip, it hits, and a lot of times it's only there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes because the people already have their buys set, and a lot of them already have their sells set. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now, is just that wave, because
it's kind of like fighting.
And there's not enough people pro. Like if that EFT or whatever would have hit or something like that, I think it would bust the resistance. That have the potential to move it through the resistance. But that's what we're kind of seeing right now. But it's actually, I think it's kind of good because it's stabilizing. People that have bought pretty much after, sometime late January to now, they haven't made a whole lot of money in Bitcoin, but they haven't lost a lot of money in Bitcoin. If they've been trading and they know what they're doing in trading, then people are doing awesome because it's constantly going almost to the resistance, back down to the support, to the resistance. So if I buy and hold, obviously, let's say I buy and hold and I make 10% at the end of the year. Something that's as volatile, meaning going up and down every day and every week, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And if we have 1,000 Bitcoin, then each $100 swing is $100,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of those people that are taking those are that same 1,000 Bitcoins, and we made 10% by holding. They could have made 100%, 500% on the same exact turn. They also could lose if you're picking the wrong direction all the time.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that right now with Bitcoin, because it's just been so much you don't have all the institutional money coming in. Now, if the only time you get hurt is if it busts through that bottom and you held on to it the whole time. You know what I mean? You don't really get hurt if it continues to go up.
Right.
You're losing money because I put in my sales at 6,800 and now it's going forever. Now you're kind of like, when do I rebuy? Because I don't want to buy back in at 17,000 and then have a tank and me not knowing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it gets kind of
going down.
scary when it just goes on a bull run forever, because you don't know if you already got out. If you stayed in, then it's awesome. But if you got out, then you're kind of, when do I get back in? You know what I mean? So then
Right.
that's where it gets kind of tricky. But with iLine, they do trading. They have their own trading platform. Pretty much only Ethereum and Bitcoin. They're not messing with many altcoins.
Okay.
And there's probably about 15% or less of the money that's coming in that we're counting on has anything to do with trading. Most of it has to do with servicing, meaning that they buy Bitcoin in large amounts, 50 million, 100 million at a time. Typically you can get 6 to 10% under market value, sometimes a little bit more, depending on who you're buying from. They buy, John Paul and his partners are from Venezuela. There's a lot of Venezuelan mining going on. They're buying at less than, more than 10% discount there, just because they want to just sell it all to one person and not have the issue. But they're not doing, hundreds of millions of dollars in mining per month. But so they have some they're getting there. They have others that they're just buying at 6% under. But typically when they purchase, they're purchasing under market value. So now all of a sudden, if you're purchasing under market value, it doesn't necessarily matter what the value is. You bought it for under. And then through ATMs, through casinos, through their own exchanges, they're selling in places that are a little bit more difficult to get Bitcoin, and they're selling a lot of the smaller amounts. The small amounts you pay over spot. The big amounts you can do under. So if you buy in big amounts and you sell in small amounts, so you buy it under spot, you sell it over. That's kind of what their business model is. And selling a lot in Colombia, selling a lot in Mexico, selling a lot in Panama, Spain, different places. With some of the OTC business, charging 10% plus over, meaning that I say, well, if you say, hey, I want to buy $100 of Bitcoin. I say, okay, you give me $100, I give you $90 of Bitcoin, because I just made it simple for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't have to set anything up or anything, and that's kind of what they're doing. And the big play that we're pretty excited about is they're very close to launching out with all the OXXOs in Mexico, Walgreens and Walmarts in the United States, and international, to where somebody can just walk in through the platform, put down cash like you would with a prepaid debit card or credit card, and leave with Bitcoin in your iWallet. And so again, those are things that they're doing from, like $5 to $500. You can't do more than $500, just kind of like the vanilla cards and stuff like that. But they're also able to charge fairly high fees for that.
Right.
And the more right now, just through their current exchanges, they're moving about 12,000 Bitcoin per month, at a profit of 15-20+%.
Is this your iWallet?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you guys are gonna develop more, or?
Yeah, so they're gonna add the exchanges and everything
Oh.
in that. Some of the countries already have the exchanges in. The U.S. takes a little bit longer because there's more regulations and stuff like that. But that's pretty much what we do, and so they're in their trading. I mean, it's been awesome, but you don't know if it's always going to be awesome. That's why
Right.
we don't have a big, all the money going into that trading. No matter how much Eyeline Holdings makes, we get paid the same amount. So the whole gist of this is, as long as they make more than that 0.66% or 0.33% of what you actually put in, then you get paid it. If they made less than it, then you're not. They do have reserves and stuff like that they can still have a day or something that they make less. But really the only reason we're able to pay it out daily is because the major majority of the money is transaction based, and there's transactions happening every day. The trading, they don't trade every day. They don't buy every day, they don't sell every day. They kind of wait for the stars to align with what they think it's going to do, and then they buy. And then sometimes you wait on that an hour, and sometimes you wait it out for a month, because
Right.
it doesn't always, for them, it's gone in the direction and done what they thought, but it hasn't done it at the, they don't have like, it's gonna do it in the next hour. They're thinking it's going to do it, but sometimes it takes an hour, 10 minutes, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes months.
Yeah.
If you, you know, or in some of the situations that, you know, it was in where it just kept going up and going up and going up, then they, you know, are trying to figure out when they're going to get out, but you don't really have the profit that we can give to somebody else until you actually get out. You know what I mean? And so most of it's transaction based. The upside of it being transaction based, it makes it much. There's still risk. It's a volatile market, right, in cryptocurrency, but it makes it much safer because it's just based on transactions. It's not based on, you know, picking the right time to get in and the right time to get out. The downside is it does limit the amount that you can move, meaning that this can't be scaled to every person on the planet. But right now they're moving, like I said, about 12,000 Bitcoin, which means we can scale this just through their OTC type of a business, up to about 100 million per month. And right now we're doing about 1 million per month. So we can have about 100 times the growth and no changes. They think it's going to be more like 5, 10, 12,000 Bitcoin a day once they get everything done with Walgreens, Walmart, Oxxos, other places like that in different parts of the country.
Okay,
Because it just makes it so many more people are going in and buying these small amounts of Bitcoin, but it doesn't take that many before, okay, there's a Bitcoin there, you know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
have thousands of stores that are selling between all their customers that come in that day, a Bitcoin a day, and then you're working on something that there's probably hundreds of thousands of stores between all the Oxxos in Mexico, and there's different places in Colombia and Central America that they're working, and then also up into the United States and Canada, and then they're, you know, doing different things throughout Europe and Africa. I mean, the sky's the limit on where you can go with it once you get it, you know, down and everything registered and working. They are moving, the home office right now is in Medellin, Colombia. They are moving to Mexico City. They're going to keep the office in Medellin because that's where some of the people live. Our attorneys and everything are in Mexico City, and they just think that Mexico City is more of an international hub than anywhere in Colombia.
Right.
And so, you know, it's 20 million people in the largest cities in the world, and it's easier to fly into from almost anywhere than it is to, you know, get into
Venezuela.
Medellin. Right, exactly. Yeah, and so that's basically what the, you know, company's all about. They started Eyeline Holdings in 2015. We've seen that, you know, that 3.5 year bout of you know, transactions and stuff like that. They've been very successful. They've only worked with accredited investors. They've been in the financial space since 2001 or 2002 in Forex and stocks, again, only working with accredited investors. So they manage a lot of money from a handful of people, I guess is basically what it is. Like with GMM, which is the product that we use of Eyeline Holding, which is Global Money Management. They handle a little over, getting close to about $200 million, but the minimum was $1 million right now. You know what I mean? To work
Right.
with them. So what we did, and they've never been a network marketing company. They've heard of it, they know about it, but they weren't interested in doing something network marketing. So there's a couple things that make us a little bit different than the others. The reason we was able to talk them into partnering with us was because they know how much money potential there is and stuff in the wallet and in the exchange. And if you are building only with accredited investors, you're going to have to compete with Coinbase and some of the big ones. You're going to have, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars of marketing budget to really get out there and compete in the wallet world, or have to have some way to promote your wallet. And so I just talked to them that what we're doing is an awesome way to promote your wallet. Not that they have to get iWallet, they can use Coinbase, you can use any wallet. You don't have to use ours at all, but if somebody doesn't have a wallet, because so many people are new, then we can say, hey, we recommend doing iWallet. There's some features, the vault, you can make up to an extra 16% per year by using iWallet instead of any other wallet that's out there. Just those types of things, then they do it, The exchanges, the OXOs, all of those types of things. If you have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, million plus people referring others, then it's going to grow faster than if you just have a handful of accredited investors. Don't really care because they have enough money that they're leveraging just their own money to make an awesome living. But what we're doing is we're leveraging through money, but also through building a network. And both of them leverage, both of them compound. That whole penny doubling, like if a penny doubles every day, 30 days, there's $5.3 million. Same with people. Meaning if I got started on day one and I signed you two up on day two, and you signed up, two people each on day three, and they signed up two, and they signed up two, we'd have 5 million people in our organization in the end of 30 days. Or if it took a month, it took me a month to find two people, and it took them a month to find two people. In 30 months, less than 3 years, less than what it takes to get a bachelor's degree in college, we'd have 5 million people in our organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the whole concept, and that's why I've been so much about duplication and retention, because even if I can just duplicate two people, I'm not even saying sign up two repeatedly. If I can just sign up two and teach them how to sign up two and teach them, you're only, about 12 steps away from making $1 million a year. You're about 15 steps away from making $1 million a month. And then you're, within that 30 from making $1 million a day. And I come to my mind, it's like, you got to be able to, if the cost is $40 a year, you got to be able to figure out how to get two people in the thing. You know what I mean? In whatever time frame it takes, doesn't matter the time frame. All of them is better than, going to 4 years to get a college degree. And I'm not saying I got my degree. I'm glad that I got it. But while I was there, is when I, got started in network marketing, so I was able to graduate, not needing to use my degree, still had it. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're looking at and see, like a huge market for this is the millennial market, because a lot of them going to school, getting a degree, and then
it's hard to
going to find a job that pays $15 an hour. They could have found that job without a degree. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
And so
we're in that position.
Yeah. So that's really what we're doing. Like the road to $1 million, if people really understood and they actually understood what $1 million would do for their life financially, I mean, it's not going to make somebody a happier person or anything, but it does ease some of the stresses of life.
Yeah.
It can also bring some other stresses on by, different decisions and stuff that people make. Yeah. But it's a good problem to have if you can't make things run a little bit smoother with that, then you're just making stupid decisions. You know what I mean? So, and that's something that people need to learn from, or maybe they never learn from it. But it doesn't matter. Most people wouldn't turn it away. So we have road to $1 million. There's 4 steps. Step number 1 is just getting started. $40 of Bitcoin is about 0.006 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Can't participate if you're on the sidelines, right? So just getting started, there's no risk because that's going to start paying you every single day, whether you refer anybody or not. Step number 2 is you want to refer 3 people because of the structure of our business is a 3-by matrix. So you want to refer 3 people as fast as you can. We doesn't matter if you did it in a day, you do it in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, it doesn't matter. But just for simplicity purposes, we put the goal to do it in a week if somebody wants to move fast. Step number 3 is same thing. You want to help those 3 find their 3 so that you can get that duplication going. Step number 4, to turn it into more residual income, so it's not just one time per year, because $40 per year, to compound about 10% of your profits. You could compound 50%, 75%, whatever, but even at 10%, the money gets crazy. So as that went, when I first find my 3, so I spent $40 in Bitcoin, which is going to start paying me every single day. But now we're looking at the compounding through building the team, as opposed to the compounding through the trading. We'll bring the trading in here in a second. So I'd make $12.60 of Bitcoin. I'm using dollars even though it's Bitcoin, just to make it instead of 0.000 whatever Bitcoin. So $12.60 is about what you'd make when you have your 3. As they get their 3, they get their 3. 5 weeks into it, you'd be at about $160. So you basically have 4 times your money and just a little over the month. Plus you have the money coming in every single day in the Bitcoin from the package itself. 8 weeks into it, you're about $8,800. So if you look at that, $8,800, if I took 10%, that's $880. I already have 20 more packages. So all this money was made off of just one package, but now by 8 weeks I already have 20. Weeks, right, 9, 11, and 12 come out at $678,000. Now it's $678,000, 10%, $67,000, 1,500 packages. So if one package made me $678,000, 2 packages would be 1.2 million. What would 1,500 packages be? As the other people start to hit those numbers, it's crazy. It's millions of dollars a month, right? And then you work it down. Well, probably not everybody's going to get 3, but some are going to get 30, and some are going to get 300, and a bunch are going to get 0. But what I like about this more than anything I've ever done is even if they get 0, they win. So when I'm looking at duplication and retention, first off, everybody's active for a year, so the retention's for a year. Now, if they purchase another package when theirs is done, should be a pretty high percent. We don't know exactly what it's going to be now, but we know through our mining company, that's a 2-year contract, we have almost 90% of the people that have repurchased, and it's not even been 2 years. So we have like 90% repurchasing before their contracts are even up, buying more contracts. Well, why are they doing that? Well, because they're making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we know a lot of the people are going to not wait the full year to purchase another package. Some are purchasing packages every day, every week, every month. But even if they wait that whole time, how many of them are going to purchase another package when it runs out? Probably, I think the majority, because they all profited whether they referred anybody or didn't refer anybody. You know what I mean? And so our retention is good, and what we've already seen and already proven, the duplication is much better, because as I bring somebody into something, a lot of them say, I'll try the package, but I don't want to, market it. It's fine, you don't need to market it, Most of them, after they start getting paid every single day, day after day after day, they tell somebody about it. They're like, oh, cool, and they do it. Even if they don't intend to build the business, as they're getting paid every single day, then they're like, they start telling people, and then they do it. So the only thing that is necessary in order to give your business the best chance of success is to show them how to log in and see what they're making every day and how to withdraw it and how it works. Because some of the people put in the $40 and never log in and never pay attention. So the chances of them duplicating is not as good because they don't really even know what's going on.
Following.
But if you just work with them and you don't even work with them to go push and go talk to everybody, you just make sure that they understand how to log in and how to watch it. Human nature takes over and they start, I'm going to buy another package. I'm going to buy it. Even without you telling them, they're buying more packages because they start to see that compounding effect. And the thing I like, most of our business has been nutrition. So I sell somebody something, and best case scenario, they take it and they really like it, so they want to buy it again, right? But here, I'm not really selling somebody something. I'm just saying, hey, put some money to work for you, because we separate the money, because obviously the money that we pay out in commissions and for profits for the company can't also be compounding and being traded. So we separate the money that goes into the comp plan and operations from what goes into the trading account, but the amount that goes into the trading account as opposed to the management side, you can pull out anytime you want. So it's not even stuck there. It's still your money, right? Because of how the SEC has some wording done and stuff like that, you can't pay commissions. I don't know if you can, but it's kind of gray area whether you can or not. Some say that you can, some say that you can't pay commissions on something that's not a registered security, and you can't register this as a security because they're not considering at this time the cryptocurrency a security. But they say if you market it as a security, then we're going to treat it as a security, and it's like, and it's crazy because they'll go after you as marketing a security, but if we said that, yeah, we think it is a security, can we register it? They don't have a way to register it. It's impossible to register. So it's just kind of a crazy situation because they're not regulating it. Now it's almost too late. Then there's a lot of that gray area. So if we can't pay commissions on money that's going into, that you're paying for something solely for the chance to make profits, or they consider that a security. So that's why we separate everything. We don't pay commissions on the trading. The commissions are just for the software that we have, the management, running the accounts, doing all of that. That's what. So we basically charge half of the money that comes in to run it all. The majority of that gets paid back to the field. Some of it's to have profits for the company because we do have expenses to run everything and do all that, right?
Service. Yeah.
And then what goes into the trading is still your money. There's no commissions paid on that.
But that's what gets returned to the person after a year.
After the year,
right.
plus the daily returns. But you don't have to wait a year. You can have that returned to you after a week or after 2 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that. Most of the time, people aren't going to. You're going to lose money if you have it returned to you before 10 months. But some people get in a situation like, let's say I put in $5,000 and something happens. I got to get whatever out that I can. Then they pull it out and take the loss. So that's something. So what we've done on a compliance issue is every account separate. So there's no pooling of money, which you can't pool people's money. They all have an on and off switch, so you can turn it on, you can turn it off.
Right.
Separate from every other account. So your account is your own. You can turn on, you can turn off. You can also pull the money. So we set it up very similar to what is a highly regulated market, and that's Forex. So Forex, you can do a PAM account, a managed account, to where they basically link the accounts together. They don't pool them together, but they link them together just through programming. You know what I mean? And then they trade all the accounts. So one account trades, it automatically trades them all. So that's already legal. It's already done in Forex all the time. So that's what we're doing with the managed account. They're not trading every account individually because it would take too many human beings to do that.
And process all this stuff with somebody. Okay.
Right, but you also don't have to, and it is 100% legal. Now in Forex, in order to do that, you have to be a broker, right? These guys are a broker, but there is not a broker of crypto. So on the Forex and the stock side, which we don't market because we're just doing straight crypto, they are a broker and they can do that stuff. But they didn't even set that up because they're doing stuff all over the world. So they went with an exclusion, which is working only with accredited investors. And so then it doesn't have to be registered with the SEC and stuff like that. Because they're in Colombia, doing everything registered with the SEC and everything in the U.S. is not really necessary for them. So if they took a U.S. client, it has to be accredited investor, which kind of supersedes the SEC, because the SEC saying if it's an accredited investor, they can pretty much join we're not going to try to protect them from, a Ponzi scheme or something like that, but just some, mom and pop that has some of their retirement and somebody's calling them on the phone and talking them into this big thing, and they say, that sounds pretty good, so they put the money, and that's kind of what it's more there to protect. And so they have both sides. They have the accredited investor, but then they also have, like, if it's below a certain amount, then it doesn't have to be registered also. So that's why you have a lot of seminar companies and stuff like that in some states can't sell something over 300. Some states they can't sell something over 500. It's that same concept. It's dependent on what you're selling. If you're selling something that the sole purpose of that is to automate and make money, like some of these investment companies and stuff like that, they're able to get around it because they sell less than 300. Like they'll do a 297 or something like that in this state. Other states don't have it that, so then they can sell it for more. But that's just kind of how it is. So we're not putting that in because it's not regulated with the crypto that you can only do a certain amount and you can only do that. But we look at it, if the SEC or somebody did get involved, we still have two options to conduct business exactly as we are in the US. One, accredited investors only, and two, probably under a $300 per year amount. And then that just in certain states you might have to limit. That's the most packages that you can make. But the great thing about the business is being able to compound by building a team also. So that's basically what, everything about the company, what we're doing. As mentioned, we haven't exploded to where I think the potential is that we can, but it's also, we've only been going a couple months and we're doing over $1 million a month, and most of that is at $40 at a time, because a lot of the people in this part of the industry are extremely skeptical, which I don't blame them, because there's been scam after scam after scam.
I've been a victim of those.
Yeah, so we basically have just said, hey, here's the deal. There's nothing in our compensation structure that rewards you to put in more than 40. So anything more than 40 is their choice. You know what I mean? We're not trying to. And now, if you want to put in 400,000, you can do that. But that's just 100. You're not going to make any more percentage. You're not going to make any more in the comp plan. You're not. Now, obviously, you're going to make more percentage because it's more money, but it's the same percent. So we're trying to do it to where, and I just explained what it takes to make $1 million, multiple millions of dollars, basically unlimited, with just $40 out of pocket. And then the only other that you do is 10% of the profits. So it's not even, it's like house money. You know what I mean? And if you found 3 people in a day, which is very possible, and they did it, then you're at that in 12 days. You know what I mean? So the concept is, you guys have the call center, and if I said, hey, here's the deal, I'm going to pay you guys $10,000 a month, so I'll give you $2,500 a week, and what you have to do is you have to sign up 3 people a day into this program, and if you don't, then you have like 1 or 2, warning days, and if you go 3 days in a row, then you're fired. A lot of people would take that job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people would sign up 3 a day, no problem.
Oh, more than that.
Right.
Yeah. It's like
because
it's like a.
Yeah, when I was I worked a fairly short period of time when my freshman year of college. It was like 3 years before I really started making much money in MLM. I was like busting my ass. I still say it's full time because I didn't really have another job. I did a couple times have a part-time job because I was on school with athletic scholarship. Part of that, you can't have a full-time job. So it's more like in the summer that I would have like these part-time jobs. One summer I was working for a company called Matrix, which was it was a call center, but it was just, literally just calling like all Sears customers and trying to sell them accidental death insurance, or calling, you know what I mean? So literally it just 100% calling people that just, hey, Sears card holder, we have this offer. And most days you'd sell, I think our quota was like 6, and then you'd have some days you'd sell 16 or 17. And that's a cold call to a Sears card holder that selling them life insurance. You know what I mean? It was fairly easy because it was cheap and it was going straight to their Sears card, so we didn't have to like get credit card over the phone or do any of that. Right. But then there's like several other people calling different credit card holders, just telemarketing, and everybody's selling. Some people would have horrible days and sell 1 or 2, but I guarantee you that's harder to sell than what we're selling here. So people that like, you could get telemarketing companies that are probably easily selling 3 a day or more in those shifts, because telemarketers, even though they're annoying, they wouldn't still be doing it as much if they weren't making some sales.
Right.
And you realize how many people hang up on them and they still make sales. Or the companies wouldn't still be doing it because it's, a lot of laws and they have more expenses and different things like that for the outbound telemarketing. So but that's the concept, is every single person could do this. If it was just that traditional job, I think I could tell people, if I'm paying you even $500 a week, just like hiring people, $500 a week is more than minimum wage. I don't know what minimum wage would even work out to be.
About
But
11,
it's-
12. Yeah. Right now, based on McDonald's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, minimum
12
wage is
8.20 something,
$8.20.
something like that
So times 40, about $300
a week.
a week. So $500, I could probably hire college students or something for $500 a week and say, if you don't make 3 sales in a week, have 1 week probation, you do it 2 weeks in a row, you're fired. And you could probably hire people. And it's just somebody off the street making 3 sales a week, and you realize 3 sales in a week, not even every week, it's 3 sales in a week, and duplicating that, you're at $1 million in 90 days. So the concept that's difficult with MLM is to get people to understand how simple it is.
Yeah.
Because everybody could sign up 3 people in a week if they really believed that they could get to $1 million in 90 days. So the $1 million in 90 days seems like too big of a pitch, too good
far,
to be
yeah.
true and too
Easy
far
to
away.
be true. kind of
Right.
thing.
So they don't make that push. And even if they do, the problem is it's not just you, it's the duplication, right? So I can get my 3, it doesn't mean I'm gonna make $1 million, because they have to get their 3, they have to get their 3, they have to get their 3. But if that's a goal, and you even get to 1% of that, still in your first 90 days, you made $6,700, you made an extra $2,000 a month, plus you have the money growing. So it's really just that whole concept. And so what we've done is made that into basically an entire system. I think we should add a little bit to it, because we just went through the system not even explaining the product really, because we wanted to do such a short video. So it's like a less than a 2-minute video. We have it in English and Spanish, and it's called Road to $1 Million. And we're just showing people, this is, you follow these steps, this is how you make $1 million in the whole concept. Share this 2-minute video with as many people as it takes to find 3. Some people might only take 3 people.
Yeah.
So if you went to talk to your friends and your friends are kind of like-minded and they want to make extra money, I could maybe show it to 3 people and say, hey, it's $40, let's do this together. You know what I mean? And they do it. If I'm showing it to strangers and I'm just texting it out to random people on my phone, it might take 10 people, it might take 100 people, it might take 1,000 people. It doesn't matter. We're not saying, show it to this many people. We're saying show it to as many people as it takes to find 3 people, and then get them to commit to do the same thing, and then see where you're at. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know where you'll be, but I know you'll be, a lot better off than where people are right now, because we're talking about spare time. We're not saying, hey, quit your job and go do this and see what happens. We're saying just do this, get your 3 people, help them do the same, and as they're trained and as they're going, it doesn't take a lot of training to teach somebody how to. I mean, how do you get out a link? You get it out text message, email, social media, or you can call and give somebody.
Yeah.
So just do that. I mean, people that you text, say, hey, I'm sure you've heard of Bitcoin. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I've always been a little afraid to get involved because I didn't actually know what to do. I met a guy, they have a company that manages your Bitcoin accounts, does everything for you so you can start earning Bitcoin every day for $40. I think it's pretty cool. Check this out. Let me know what you think. If I text it out to my friends, I'm probably going to get some response
some feedback.
and just see what they do. What I found is there's kind of 3 types of people. There's people you look up to. There's people, your peers, that you feel like you're on the same level. And then there's people that look up to you. And how you market to them is very similar, but it's just like the tiny differences. If there's people that I looked up to, then the text message is going to be almost identical, except for I'm going to kind of say, hey, I know you're super smart in business and you've been very successful. I really look up to you. Would you do me a favor and check this out? I've been looking at getting into Bitcoin for a while. I came across this, and most people will do somebody a favor. You know what I mean? And then if it's just a peer, then you basically are just, well, I guess the first one you're more asking for their opinion. The second
Right.
one you're more asking for a favor. And the third one you're just kind of telling. Because they look up to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey Harry, I know you've been looking for something. You should check this out. It's awesome. Let's do it. And then if they look up to you,
Uh-huh.
they probably will. If they're on the same level as you, they'll probably do a favor and check it out. And then if you edify them and say you look up to them, they'll probably, give you their opinion. And so that's kind of how we teach people to just kind of, break it down and just send out the info and go for it. And if there's questions, then we don't do a call center right now with Eyeline. It may be something that we do. Most of our nutrition companies, we do a call center because we are only teaching people what I've talked to you guys. And then if somebody has questions, then we just say, send them a call center. That way we don't have to teach people how to answer the questions
More like
and
customer
stuff like that.
service.
But right, what I typically do now, if somebody has a whole bunch of questions and we're talking about something that's $40 a year and is going to return their money daily, then I, pretty much just say, this might not, be for you. You have that many questions on something that's $40 for a year and is going to pay you back money daily. I'm looking for people that can make a decision and want to get in the fastest moving market in the history of the world and have, somebody fully manage everything so that you don't have to worry about it. A lot of times it's kind of that takeaway. For one, it kind of opens, it is $40 for the year. There's no
Plus,
monthly
they're getting
fees. There's no,
the half of it at the end of the year, so
Right,
it's
exactly.
not even $40.
exactly. And within the second Monday, it starts paying every day.
Yeah.
So then you're getting money back every day. So that's pretty much what it is.